unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Wool, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders right here where we call home. Grayslake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, Shockwave. They have both radial and focused units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grayslake Rehabilitation. 1 minute, your world is normal. The next, it's gone. A flood, a fire, a crime scene. Your home shattered. Your business shut down. Your life on pause. But in the darkest hour, when chaos knocks at your door, that's when Serve Pro of Northwest Lake County shows up. Not just a company, not just a cleanup crew, but neighbors, parents, coaches, locals who care. Drake and his team aren't just restoring properties. They're restoring peace, restoring dignity, restoring lives. So when your worst day arrives, call the oh no guy who becomes your thank God guy. Serve Pro of Northwest Lake County. Locally owned, nationally known, unshakably trusted. From devastation to restoration. Serve Pro, Northwest Lake County. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grayslake. I am here, sitting here on a beautiful set. Is it Saturday morning?
Yes, it is.
I'm with Elizabeth Davies. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Oh, my God, it's a pleasure, as always. Okay, so we're back again to talk about another big topic. That's the hot topic in Grayslake right now, which is the sale of we call it the glass building? What do you call it officially?
The TNT glass building, I guess, yeah. I was calling it the glass factory, but over there. But we'll call it the glass building.
Got you. Okay, so as a lot of people know, so it was sold. I want to know how the process went, because I know I read through social media all these comments about everything. So just to clarify some things, so let's take it from building's been for sale for a long time.
It has been for sale for some time, and we've been kind of a part of the process for a little while. So, it seems like a long time for us. And I know, but in the public, people will see the sign, and sometimes we'll hear about buildings that may go for sale, or just there's around town people will hear things. But just in general, like when it comes to like developing the downtown and like buildings and things along those lines. In general, I think that people think that the village has more control over what businesses come to town than we actually do. So we set up zoning, and those are like kind of tables, and they show investors and business owners like what sort of businesses we will allow in that particular space. And so that's really our role. And we don't get to select, which businesses of that space go. So if it's zoned general business, any business in that category can open a business without approval or blessing from the village, right? And so we set up those tables. So when people say, oh, there's too many hair salons or too many things downtown, I mean, that's all subjective, right? Because
I make fun of it all the time.
Well, everybody has a right to have their business be the one at the top, right?
Sure.
Or those lines. We don't really have, as long as it's own general business, any hair salon that comes in could be there. And there's a lot of wonderful hair salons, so I don't want to seem like I'm.
I get it.
Wonderful business owners or coffee shops, right? So we don't really say that there's too many of one or too many of the other, what sort of like grocery store comes to town, those types of things. We just kind of have the table set up, whether it's industrial, light industrial, manufacturing, general business, those types of things like commercial zones. And so generally speaking, when we set that up, any business can come into town in that specific space.
Gotcha.
So, for the glass factory up for sale, we have a zoning on that particular space. Any business can really come in there. And, there can be great businesses that would come to town and maybe be successful in that space. When you could have like a storage facility or, something along those lines. We just don't necessarily know which one would have come into that particular space, right?
Right.
Our downtown is super special to us as a community, and I think it's one of the things that really sets us apart. I mean, it certainly is an economic engine for our town. It also is a real sense of pride and community, and it's a place that is really wonderful for our quality of life. Like, how wonderful is it to walk downtown and get a cup of coffee, or go to the Vine or First Draft, Emil's, all of those places, to kind of head downtown and celebrate, birthdays and graduations, and just meet your friends, see people out on a Friday night, listen to music, all of those things. Like, it's just such a benefit to us as a community.
Looking for a car dealer that actually feels like your hometown? Welcome to City Chevrolet of Grayslake, where the vibe is friendly, the pressure is off, and you'll always be treated like family. Meet Anthony Scala. He's just not the owner. He's a guy that grew up in the car business, worked his way from porter to owner. Anthony believes in people first. That's why City Chevy sponsors your kids' teams, your town events. And matter of fact, this show, they give back every chance they get. Anthony thinks that the experience of buying a car should be fun. No pressure, just honest people who care. Whether you need a new Chevy, a quality used car, or just service you can trust, City Chevy is here for you. Come visit City Chevrolet of Grayslake right off of 120. And thank you for sponsoring our town, our stories, our voice. Let's get after it, Grayslake.
So when it comes to developing the downtown, I think we want to take as active and as supportive a role as possible. And so when this particular piece came up for sale, or was up for to purchase, it was really interesting to us to really kind of step in here and guide it in a way that regular zoning could not.
Understood. So it's not a control thing so much as it's kind of protecting us from maybe something going there that doesn't match our downtown? Is that kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could kind of say that. I think, what we're looking to do is really add something that is like supportive and brings visits to our town, right? Mm-hmm. And so we, I've said this before, we have like 5,000-6,000 cars a day down Center Street. We're not in Milwaukee Avenue that has 21,000 cars. Right. And so we have to work extra hard to bring people into our town and show them how wonderful it is. Right. Now, our idyllic little street is much nicer to stroll down than Milwaukee Avenue and some of these other more busy districts, sure. Right? So it's a real benefit to us, but at the same time, we work hard to make sure people know that it's here. And so the Chamber and many organizations that put on these great events that bring people to our town, business owners that have events, we're all thankful for that because it brings people here. Things like the farmers market shows them what's here, and then we hope that if some people come to one thing, they see, oh, I want to stop in this shop or do those types of things. Yeah. Oh, that's a great hair salon to use, right? So all of those, all that kind of synergy and vitality that happens through that together. So with this particular portion, it's an opportunity. It's a pretty big space as well and an interesting location. And we just want to make sure that we've done everything we can to see what can happen at that space.
Yes. Okay, so when I first thought about it first of all, I commend you for putting out the Facebook post or the post there for people to give their ideas. I thought that was very nice. But the first thing I thought about that was whatever finally goes there is going to define the face of Grayslake for a very long time. So this is a big decision, what goes there, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, as far as like the decision goes, we are looking for private partners to kind of be involved in that. And so we want to have a business that can be successful in that, businesses, that type of thing. And so it's an opportunity to kind of look for like the private redevelopment. So while we like choose and select, right, in some sense of the word, I think it's more kind of setting it up for like more private development in a more guided way. So it really won't be necessarily, and this is still visioning. We're still going to have a consultant kind of look at things, and this is very early on, right? But I think the goal, for me, the primary goal would be to have a new business in that particular space, so that it is, run privately and it is, and it's on the tax rolls and all of those things. Sure. So that would be the first goal, right? We're not 100% sure what the market will bear there, right? And so, that's one thing when you are hands off, right? The market is going to come in and be able to say, okay, what goes there? Sure. There could be different uses that want to go there, and we want to just say, okay, if we can get a use that is more beneficial to our town than another, as far as like the vitality goes, we would like to do that at this particular space. Now, this is not something you can do at every space in town, right? The only way we have more control over this is to do the process that we're doing right now at the glass factory. And this is not a process that we enter in too often, and it is a really ambitious process.
Yeah, it's very ambitious. Expectations from the public. First of all, when you look at something like this isn't going to be here next spring.
No.
Right?
Yeah,
This isn't
no.
going to be this is going to be take a while to accomplish.
Yeah, I think, our goal would probably be to do a little bit of cleanup to start with here. We'll engage in consultants. That will take months. We'll probably, talk to businesses along Center Street, get their input, and, reach out to like the community that's around us. And then, we'll take the next steps from there. So I wouldn't think that anything would happen in that space for, a good 2 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I want to take care of some of the other things too. Like I read that, what a fan I am of social media groups and watch people put stuff on there. There's one talk about, how much the demolition is going to cost. I didn't hear you say anything about demolition.
Yeah, no, we haven't really done too much of the costing out. I think like the staff probably has a general idea. Like I'm not a construction person, so
Right.
I've seen things out. But really the goal is redevelopment. So as far as like quotes on those pieces, I mean, we just have taken ownership of it, and so
Right.
really getting a good feel for what's there, the structural integrity of all the buildings, and that'll be like kind of the next kind of exploratory process. And
Yeah.
so the step one was getting a hold of the piece of property, and then from there we'll kind of assess what would be the best path forward for it. But I think it's important to share that we do have the goals that the community has. Like we do hear and we do listen, and I loved all the comments. I do. I don't get a chance to. It's a lot to monitor,
Yes.
right? So, I do my best to see them, but the best way to reach out to me is through email. I'll always say that, Grayslake Mayor Davies at gmail.com. It's always hard for me to, especially if you're like a comment on a thread or,
Sure, because they're all over the place. Right?
Yeah,
They're
and
so hard
sometimes
to
it's not as easy, or if I'm looking at my phone, it's a little hard to see. So I guess I said always please send me an email. That's the best way to get in contact with me. So it's neat to see. A lot of people have given us like other examples of businesses that have been successful places,
Sure.
and we can kind of certainly see what people in town want, and it's a great process, and we all care so much about town, and so I love hearing. It's one of the best things about our town is how much the people love it and they're willing to support it. So
Yes, and the interesting thing when I was reading through is I love to see all the comments about a community space or bringing people together or a place for teens. That just shows me, no matter what goes in there, where the thoughts of our town are at, and expressing concerns of what they might want more of, right?
yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
cool. I love it.
Absolutely. And it's really awesome to we have other spaces in town to develop, and it helps us guide what we might do in other places too. So I see some things for people will say, I'm like, oh, maybe that's not a good fit for there, but let's put that up here for maybe another space or another
Sure.
time. So it's just, I've always felt like the conversations I have with residents are just so incredibly helpful. There's so many ideas of things on downtown that were conversations with people, coffees, or hey, let's meet or chat, or emails, and so government doesn't always work quickly. So these things can take time, but just to tell people like that their voices are heard and they're definitely informing what's going on at our village board. Like all of our board members really care about town, very connected in all of their own ways, and I think it's a real win, and I hope people can feel that. And that's kind of one of the goals of the Facebook post was, this is really the beginning, and so let's hear from the community.
Right. I love that because there's so many things going on. I mean, since you've taken your role as mayor, we're talking from data center that's going to create all kinds of opportunities, right?
Yep.
We've got garbage cans, we got e-bikes, we have all of the fun stuff. How has it been going so far? Are you enjoying your time?
I am enjoying it, but it's just the nature of things, and the nature of what has come before us, right? And some of this stuff was already in works before I was the mayor, like the garbage change and
Right.
those things. So, but it's certainly my job to shepherd us through that, and things like the e-bikes, that kind of popped up, this fall and summer. So we were able to, I think, address that and move forward with that. So that was helpful, and So, and then now we've got this nice, and this opportunity was something that we've talked at the board for some time. So
How long has that place been empty? Do you have any idea?
Well, I mean, I'm not, empty.
I know
or
the back part was empty for a long time.
Or not used at a certain space.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of like the particular, business owner's journey and
Right.
What was going on at that particular space. But we could say that it was underutilized for a big space in our town for some time.
Sure.
And it was for sale for probably about a year.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Well, it's nice with that, and I saw a bunch of people. I love your transparency of things because obviously anything that's for sale has public record of how much we paid for it, all of these plans that go. But I love your transparency, and I love to see that we work with a lot of the other community that you work with, that You're very straightforward with things. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing like,
Nope.
This is all for the good of the community, right? And all of these steps are in place to enrich our town rather than do anything bad.
Yeah, and I think, it's really, I think a special thing to note, there's a lot of things we're able to do, and, it's always worth being said, like, the reason we're able to do this is because of the great financial shape of the village, right? And so we've been very careful with our funds over the years. We have, a multi-year capital campaign, and so those are the funds that we were able to use to purchase this building. And so, like, it's something that we've saved this particular amount over a little bit of time that we're able to use, and it's because we don't have debt and we're able to purchase this without, borrowing, and we can have these like big visions on this opportunity. And so I always say that, sometimes like the financial side is not just about what it saves, but about the opportunities it really presents to us. And I think this is one of those examples where, like, we always talk about fiscal responsibility and good financial management, and it is so important. And it's also important for reasons like this, so that when opportunities present themselves for us to really move our town forward, we have the resources to do it. And so, that's from many boards for many, many years.
Right, it's a pretty special thing. We're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano, and Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grayslake girl helping out Grayslake people.
The Grayslake Chamber of Commerce isn't just networking, it's opportunity. Members get exposure through local events, online directories, and social media, plus access to exclusive resources that help businesses succeed. Make new connections, grow your brand, and be part of the events that bring our town together. Learn more and join today at grayslakechamber.com. The Grayslake Chamber of Commerce, the new wave of business.
This is Bob Churchill. I know you are always there for your family, caring for your children, your spouse, and even your parents. But in critical times, will you be able to make decisions that assure the best result for your family? A power of attorney may be necessary if, on behalf of a loved one, you need to talk to a doctor, a bank, or the college infirmary. A power of attorney may sound daunting, but the lawyers at Churchill, Quinn, Hamilton, and Van Doncelar can easily create this document for you. We are right here in Grayslake, supporting the community for over 122 years. Reach out to us at grayslakelaw.com or call us at 847-223-1500. Whether you need a power of attorney, a will, or legal help with your business, we'll take care of you so you can care for others. Go to grayslakelaw.com today for more information. Have a wonderful day, and now back to the program.
I was talking to a couple of trustees, too, about like how financial things work, and I love that one of them said, hey, come to the next meeting. Like, if you really want to, dork out about everything that's going on, like a 4-hour meeting about, how things are going to be spent. But I was like, oh, I would love to come to that just to get more educated, right? Because I think a lot of people take to the computer to write things when they're not educated on everything. So
yeah, no, it's a lot. We get binders, and can take good week or two to go through it.
I'm sure.
I'm very thankful for the 10 years I had as a trustee. It gives me the historical knowledge, also the perspective, and kind of it helps me play the long game for our town. And you elect people that you hope, I think, care about it, are going to do the research, going to be connected with the community, and that you're trusting them to make those decisions. It's hard on Facebook for me to give you all the pieces of all the information that we've gotten right over the time. And so I just hope that my connection with people will earn a little bit of trust that I'm going to do my absolute best for you, that I think similarly to you, and I have the same goals for our town that you do, and we're going to get to the best space. And I think that that's something with this building.
Very, very well said. Is there any of the questions on there that kept reoccurring that we can answer on here that you saw, that maybe one that just kept coming up?
I think I think one of the things that's interesting is that we are looking for private redevelopment of this. So as far as keeping it in public space, that's not, I don't we'll go through the process. And there might be a role for it, but I think we are looking first for businesses that are looking to invest in that. And so one of the jobs of government is to set the table for businesses, and I hope that what we're doing is setting this for a really great business to kind of come in and use that space to its best capacity. So I think that is really where we want to focus, and so I know a lot of people talk about, public particular spaces, and that can be a really tricky space for, government. And we want to be careful if we ever venture into that. I'm not saying that we wouldn't venture into that, but it is something that just you got to really think about that when you venture into those spaces. It can be want to think about what the role of our village is, and I think it really is to like set the table for a great business to come into that space.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate all the hard work that you guys are doing. It's going to be very interesting because speaking of setting the table, our downtown, I mean, that has to be a very attractive spot for something really cool to go in, right? I mean, if I came down to this new business, it would be like, holy cow, we can go there.
Yeah, I think whoever is going to be there is going to be so lucky and fortunate. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I look at that space with like really big eyes and really big excitement.
Yeah.
And we want all the business owners that invest in Grayslake to be successful. And, we are on business's side. And so I think, for people that come in, we're always working on trying to, do better for our businesses and to really like take that step forward. So, I think anybody that comes in here is going to be really, really fortunate. So, and it's a great town with great people, really willing to support it. So, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for somebody.
Yes.
So, if you know anybody
We'll see-
that's
we'll
looking,
see
there's
what
an
happens.
opportunity to be had in Grayslake. Got to put that in lights, like,
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. And I think the key is everybody needs to be patient, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a process. Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathomenlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes, and it's kind of fun to see things from, the purchase of the building going on.
Yeah, I mean, nobody is more excited about it than me and cheerleader for like what we want, But I just want to also like take a sec, so not fun to do, but to just make sure people are measured in their expectations too for the space. There could be a scenario where we go down with consultants and we just really don't find a private partnership, or there's something wrong with the property or something along those lines. It needs to be said that it could be the blight could just be removed as well. I mean, obviously that's the goal is for those like big things, and and I've had people send me wonderful places that things, and people have mentioned things like Pike's Place and Faneuil Hall and the Milwaukee Public Market, which we're going to go for it on this, but we also are a town of 21,000 people with a little bit around with like I'm not sure what the market is around us, so I just want to like have realistic expectations, but we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it too, right? So
Right.
just want to have people just be aware. I mean, we're going for the Grand Slam, we're going for the home run,
I love it.
We also take the RBI.
Right. I love all your baseball references.
I
Or
can't help
softball,
myself.
I'm sorry, in that
No,
way
both
too.
are good, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I wanted to make this short and sweet, but I want to make sure that is there anything else that you want to tell the public? First of all, I appreciate you. Every time that there's something comes up, it's so nice that we have a platform to share, because sometimes reading a newsletter or seeing a Facebook post isn't the easiest way. I communicate much better verbally. I can't respond to an email for the life of me, but in verbal communication, I believe that it gets the point across a little more. So anything else we need to know?
I just want to say thank you. Like, thank you for all of the interest, and thank you for caring. I think we all really care about town, and just really appreciate the interest. And so reach out, and I'm happy to share any thoughts behind my thinking.
I love it. I love it. Well, Grayslake, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being patient. And just one reminder, too, and I'm not protecting Beth or anything like this, but be kind on there. Write your statements out. Say what you do, but remember, we are an awesome community, and we need to keep it that way. So the positive talk is wonderful, and I love to hear everybody's ideas, but just be kind, right? Exactly.
Absolutely. Always can be said.
Exactly. So Grayslake, hey, wherever you guys are listening, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. That way, this podcast, I think, the goal is to bring community together, so we get to meet all of these cool business owners. So hit the subscribe button so that way every Tuesday you'll get to know another business in town that just brings us all closer together. And as we just talked, and we always finish, that we never know what our neighbors are going through. We never know who's having a bad day. Even the mayor might have a bad day sometimes. So be kind, a smile, a hello, hold the door for somebody, be nice to the cashier at the dollar store, whatever you have to do just to make our town a better place. So Elizabeth, thank you so much for your time. Grayslake, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.